right, left, right, left, right, left.
Here's a look at 55-year-old Thomas Braddish a month before he passed away, literally taking it one step at a time after being misdiagnosed for years by several doctors. Sadly, he found out when it was too late that he had Lyme disease as well as Bartonellosis and Babesia, which you can also develop from a tick bite. He passed away on June 16, 2015 from respiratory complications.
You know, Tommy's story needed to be told, because this is so unfair that people are being misdiagnosed and that you can go misdiagnosed for that long and you suffer and end up in a wheelchair and not able to even speak when all he needed was an antibiotic 2 years prior.
His sister Eileen Valerio, who I caught up with at the Larchmont Elementary School in Mount Laurel, where she's a school nurse, is sharing her brother's story in hopes of saving someone else. The Centers for Disease Control estimates that 30,000 people in the U.S. are infected each year with Lyme disease, and New Jersey has the second highest amount of cases in the whole entire country. Eileen says her brother, who was a businessman and lived in the Poconos, was training for a triathlon when his health just took a turn for the worse.
After 2 years, he was confined to a wheelchair. He was robbed of his voice, he wasn't able to walk. So we finally found out a dear friend who was a physician's assistant came to visit him one day and could not believe what had happened to her friend. And she took him to a Lyme-literate physician who immediately, given the fact that he was training in the woods for a triathlon, was getting weaker. That was enough for this physician to realize that this was a good possibility. It was tick-borne illness.
Did Congressman Chris Smith come up in any of the conversations? I feel like they should meet, because he spent 20 years on the Hill fighting to get the recognition about what he calls, and a lot of medical experts that he's brought up before Congress call, a chronic condition, a chronic disease, something that's really, it's not only misdiagnosed, but there's a reluctancy on the part of the federal government to recognize what the condition is, so they can't get the funding.
She didn't bring up his name specifically, but the one thing she's most frustrated about is that she says the testing is not adequate in the U.S.
No,
There's
it's not.
no
It's
test
not.
that will, it's after the fact.
If she doesn't know Congressman Smith, I think you ought to introduce him.
I would love to.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Good.
Bill.
All right.